Welcome back to another edition of Zero Blog 30. Today we have a couple great stories for you. One, we're going to do a DARPA rundown. It's been a while since we let you know on some of the ridiculous stuff that DARPA has, those big brain fuckers over there. They got a lot of stuff going on. Secondly, we're going to introduce a new game. This game is going to be fun. It's called Integrity Violator, Undisciplined, or Good to Go. I'm going to give Kate and Cons a list of scenarios. They're going to tell me if they are an integrity violator, undisciplined, or just straight up good to go. We'll end up with Katie's news brief, and then we'll hit some save rounds. And all of that begins right now. All right, welcome back to Zero Blog 30. Today, we are going to start off with a little bit of the DARPA rundown. If you don't remember, DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. And they do some of the craziest things that the world has ever seen. Some of the best inventions, some of the inventions that we use the most, they are involved with, such as the one that you downloaded this today by using the internet. They are the ones that discovered the internet. They also came up with a computer mouse, and they didn't really have a military use for it, so they let other businesses, and then Microsoft took over with it. They designed part of the M16 assault rifle. They did that stuff and GPS. If you go anywhere using, what is it? Zoom, not Zoom. What is it? Waze. Yeah, Waze or Google GPS, whatever.
What do you guys use when you're driving? What's your go-to navigational tool?
I'm a Waze lady. I enjoy knowing where the cops are.
I was Waze for a long time, but now I'm back on Google Maps.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, they're the Tony Starks of the military world, coming up with all our new technologies that end up bleeding into civilian life. So what have they been up to lately? Yeah,
they had this big meeting. I guess it was like 2 weeks ago, which I wish I would have known. Next year, I'm going to put it on my calendar. I want to go to DARPA's events. I know it'll be boring. There'll be a lot of stuff I don't know about, but I need to be involved with those question and answers. Like, I want to ask some of the questions, especially when you hear some of the things that they're doing. Because the first one that I want to talk about is they designed, and this one would be great. Like, if you've ever done anything cold weather training, I remember I did a land nav course in Virginia in February. It was at night. There was ice and snow on the ground. It was cold as shit. And I remember thinking I would do anything to legitimately be warm. Well, DARPA might have something for that. Kate, can you walk us through the first invention?
Yeah, so Rice University bioengineer Jerzy Slazowski. That's a great name. It's Jerzy.
Mike Wazowski.
Jerzy.
I think the Z is
Cons, baby name.
The Z is probably the Z is probably silent there on Zablowski.
But basically, DARPA gave them a grant to work on a pill that will make you warm. You know how everybody is, once you get cold, you start shivering. If you're getting ill and you're developing a fever, you start to shiver. And this shivering, whatever the circumstance, raises your body temperature. The problem is that when you start to shiver, though, you lose dexterity, and it's really unpleasant. So say you're your EOD and it's freezing cold. You're somewhere in Russia. You're trying to defuse a bomb, but you're shivering so hard, you're clipping the blue instead of the red. So he's working on a pill that does like thermogenesis.
I read a little bit about this, so I'll kind of explain it. So the pill that they have is designed to go in and essentially change your chemical makeup for just a little while. So what it does is it goes into your bloodstream, and the chemical reacts with the iron that's in your blood, and it can make it almost heat up. This isn't for long-term. You can't do it forever, but you can have it for like 4 or 5 hours at a time. So if you're going out on a patrol and it's cold as shit, you take this. That's a distinct advantage over the enemy.
It's like cracking one of those hand warmers at a tailgate in your pocket, but you're cracking it into your bloodstream. Right.
And that's such an advantage.
Hunters, this would be a huge pill for.
No, you know who this helps?
Kids at the bus stop. Good job, Cons.
Yes.
That. Also, I think this would prevent a lot of marriages from ending in divorce, because I think there is a raging battle that occurs between spouses when it comes to what temperature the thermostat should be set at.
That being said, what do you guys put your thermostats at?
In the winter, 66.
72.
What?
Yeah, and it's because our entire apartment that I rent is enormous windows, and no matter what we do, it's fucking freezing in here. The bill is insane. It's terrible. But yeah,
that's actually when I get the PSE&G bill every month. It's kind of like a game for me. I like to see like, how low did we get it this week or this month rather?
We've been at 63 in the house, and it's been lovely. I like to be cold all the time, so we've been 63 in it and put a little bit of extra blankets on. It's absolutely wonderful. My wife's grandma I went over to their house once in the wintertime, never did it again. They kept it at 80 degrees.
Get out of here.
80.
Oh, no.
Fucking, I don't know how the thermostat went that high. 80 is ridiculous. All right, so they have that's one of the inventions that you can warm up your blood. The second type that they have, which I also think is pretty cool, this one's making people eat trash. Like, just straight up trash.
So basically, we know that trash is a huge problem for forward deployed, thus the burn pits and all the issues we're having with that. Because what do you do with it? How do you get rid of it? The logistics of trash and waste are an enormous pain in the ass. So if they could take all of our garbage, like say our MRE wrappers, all the water bottles. So DARPA wants to use Pentagon's Blue Sky Projects wing to turn those into fuel, building materials, or food itself. Yeah, they want to be able to turn our waste into, so maybe.
And go ahead, Kate.
I'm just saying, like, you can use them as sandbags afterwards. They just want to be able to recycle our waste to use on forward operating posts and stuff instead of just having to burn it and breathe it in. Which is a great
and some
idea.
of them that they went to, I read a little bit more about this and how they're doing it. It's essentially strips the micro particles. They rips them apart, and there's micronutrients in the plastic still based on what it's made from like corn and ethanol and all that stuff, where they can extract some nutrients, and then you put enough in there, and then everybody can kind of eat off of it. I don't understand how that's going to work, because I'm not gnawing on a fucking water bottle. Like,
it's going to be terrible.
I'm not having that.
I like the idea of designing it in ways that can be reused on like forward operating outposts and stuff like that, or maybe as even to bulk up defenses and stuff like that. But I don't know.
It should be DARPA presented by our good friends at 3Chi, honestly, because that's how you have to have. Like, what if we just ate water bottles? Like, what if we
just ate out of the garbage?
Yeah, what if we made people's blood warmer by a pill? Like, that's the only way those ideas come about. What's next, Kate?
Plant-eating robots. So the Energy Autonomous Tactical Robot Program, it sought to create robots that could feed off of plants just like animals do. So instead of having to plug in your robot or whatever, you could just let it graze for a little bit in your yard. That way humans and robots aren't competing with power sources. I like that the CEO had to issue this statement. We completely understand the public's concern about futuristic robots feeding on the human population, but that's not our mission.
Just because it's not your mission doesn't mean
that might become the mission for the robots.
That was written in the past tense. I feel like maybe that project got squashed.
No, just watch
next.
But watch
Terminator 2 one time for me.
That reminded me, when I was reading about this, the only thing kept coming into my mind is the rhino in Ace Ventura, where he like crawls out of his butthole. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Up next, mechanical elephants. In the 1960s, DARPA began researching vehicles that would enable troops and equipment to move more freely in the dense terrain of Vietnam. And I mean, they're still working on stuff like this. We see the pack carrying robots, the exoskeletons, everything they're building. They maybe aren't trying to build like an elephant per se anymore, but DARPA has always been working on ways to help us move gear in situations where vehicles don't work. So I feel like even though the mechanical elephant is dead, that program has kind of lived on in a bunch of different ways.
And they've made drastic improvements to that mule that we were talking about. There was another video based on the research that's gone on. They've taken it to different types of terrain now. They've gone through like really thick sand like you would have in like Saudi Arabia if you're in like a big desert like that. They've gone up mountains, they took it to Switzerland and went up different mountains. They had it on just like pavement. They've made it where it's really good. And that's where I found out today. You guys know that, I'm sure, Cons, you know that golf cart that you could put your golf clubs in it and then put a remote into your pocket and it follows you around?
Yes.
That is from that technology. Like that is a DARPA technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes sense. I wonder though, like if this would introduce a level of shame though into the military, especially in infantry units where it's like, oh, you're using the elephant to carry your gear. You can't carry it yourself. Cool,
or it's only for officers and staff NCOs that get them. That's probably what it would be. It'll be like a pistol. Like you only get a pistol if you're a staff NCO or an officer.
Yep, I like it.
All right, let's move on to a game I have for you today. And the rules are, again, the only ones you can pick: integrity violator, undisciplined, or good to go. Okay.
Yes.
All right. The first one that we have, first one up. I'm sure you've all done it before. Kicking the ice under the fridge whenever you're getting a drink.
Good to go.
Good to go.
Wait, integrity violator. What was the second one?
Undisciplined.
Undisciplined. Yeah, I think that one's undisciplined. It's so much easier to just bend down and throw that ice cube in the sink, and then you don't have water collecting mold underneath your refrigerator.
I
Have
never
some
go under
discipline for
there.
me.
Not my problem.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Kate there. That's such little water that I will never pick it up. And it's such little water that I don't even think it could make mold. I don't have mold in my house, and I've been doing it for 40 years.
So I just thought, yeah, maybe because it's so small, it evaporates before mold forms. So maybe that's where you're
doing
at.
it, Con. Start doing it.
I don't know. I can't.
Next, not putting the trash bag back into the trash.
Oh, undisciplined.
Undisciplined.
I
Yeah.
think that's an integrity violator, because if you go in there and you know that somebody just took out the trash, you're going to assume that it's there. I've done it in my house a million times with my kids. And then next thing you know, you got half a plate of spaghetti hitting the bottom. Like, you don't want that shit. I think it's an integrity violator.
For all my talk of feminism and championing all that, trash is Pat's problem, man.
Yeah.
I let
That's how
that
it is in our
pile
house,
up. I'm like,
too.
you better take the trash out soon. You better put the bag back in there. I don't do none of it.
Yeah. Alex never takes the trash. She just lets me know when it needs to be taken
That's
out.
right.
That's her
on you
extent
guys.
of trash
Figure it
duty.
out.
Yeah.
And Annalise takes the boxes and just throws them on the porch because she knows that I'll go out there and get them. We are the same way. But the only things that we have like traditional roles, one, the trash. I'm always going to be able to take out the trash. Two, trash to the fucking road. That's on me too.
Mm-hmm.
Three, anything that happens in the yard is my purview. Like, where she doesn't even care. She doesn't look. It has no bearing on her life whatsoever. And four, anything car related, like going to get the oil change and all that stuff, I go. And five, the dog stuff. But
I will probably, I already kind of do follow in all of those. Although I just refresh my memory. I don't know where I saw it the other day, but there was this little kid, and his job, he went around knocking on his neighbor's door, and he said for like $1 a month or like $5 a month, he would take their trash cans back from the street up to their house. And I was like, what a great little entrepreneurial kid right there. Great idea. Because also, what's $5 a month to most people, right? And then, you know, teaching him about business and ingenuity. I love it. Love
his parents said that he's making like $60 a month just going up and down his own little street. I would pay a little kid $1 to bring in.
Absolutely. And $60 a month, when that kid, I don't know, he looked like 10 or 11, that might as well be $1 million.
Oh, in New York City, the kids would always go around when it snowed asking, do you need your car dug out? And I'd be like, take $50, man. I'm so fucking lazy.
Yeah. And I think that we should reward that type of behavior, because you don't see kids doing that a whole lot now. At my old house, I used to have people mow the grass, and then this kid during COVID time was pushing his lawnmower, his little push lawnmower, around the neighborhood, going to doors and see if anybody could do it. I had just had my grass mowed. I was like, why don't you do the front yard and I'll give you $10? He's like, okay. So it had just been mowed and he's just going along mowing it himself. It was cute, man. Like, I think you got to reward kids like that. All right.
Absolutely.
Three, eating the last little bit of cereal and then putting the empty box back.
Oh my God, integrity violator.
This happens at the Barstool office all the time. People will leave an empty donut box out in the back kitchen, and I get so excited and I open the lid and there's nothing in there. Yeah, that's an integrity violator.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think I should have added another category here, and that should have been unbecoming. Like, this is just like, this is just ridiculous.
Straight to jail.
You can't do straight to jail right away. No, I think we all agree on that one. Next one, same question, but waffles.
What do you mean? Oh, just eat the last waffle and put the box back?
Right.
Integrity violator.
I think that's even more egregious.
Yeah.
Because then, like, a cereal could be like a late night snack. Waffles, you're going to, this is my breakfast. You're fucking with my entire breakfast. Now I got to go get an Egg McMuffin with a Southern style chicken biscuit with a Egg McMuffin on the side.
How many waffles you eating, pal?
I ate a lot of waffles. I'll be honest. I ate quite a bit of waffles. The chocolate chip ones, buddy. I got a new toaster with the 4. I always was a 2 toaster guy. Went with 4 because 2 ain't enough to wet my whistle.
Oh my God, you're an 8-year-old.
I really am. And I've lost weight doing it. I'm back totally on my white trashness. Look, I just took off the top of my cookie jar right here. You want to see how white trash I am? Put my hand in it.
Oh no.
Boom. Paydays, baby.
Wow.
Paydays and Butterfingers. That's all I got. Hell yeah. All right, next one. Taking your significant other's car and leaving it near empty. and gas.
God, another integrity violation.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Pat and I both do. We see who. I'll get it all the way to empty, and if I know I can make it home, I'm like, good. It's on him. Next time he gets in the car, we both play that game. It's very sad. Yeah.
There's nothing that makes me, because I will go get it. Like if she came home at 5 o'clock and was like, "Hey, we're almost out of gas. I know that you got to take Cardi in the morning." I always would go get it in the evening.
Yeah.
I get in, it's fucking 6:30, it's cold outside, and then I gotta stop. God forbid it's raining out there. I think that's good to go, because my wife does that to me all the time, and I don't want any clips come out here to say that it's not. Kate, what do you think? Oh yeah, you already said. 6, stealing cheesecake bars whenever you work at Winn-Dixie.
Fair. Good to go.
Yeah, I think it's good to go. I used to do it all the time. I fucking love stealing. I wish I could go back in time and we made stealing legal. There's nothing like the rush of stealing. I bet I had 5 or 6 copies of Michael Jackson's Free Willy soundtrack. I love that album, and I couldn't get enough of the tapes. I had the tapes, and I still would steal them.
Well, I mean, in high school, me and my friends still beta fish from Walmart.
Oh, where'd you?
We are a generation.
Under our
The
shirts.
3 of us are a generation of stealers.
In the bag.
Yeah.
We all downloaded music illegally. We all stole music. That was how we came up.
And destroyed our parents' computers too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, last one. Saying you don't eat ass when you do.
That's good to go. I think what you do with your butt
good
is
to
your
go.
own business.
Yeah, I kind of think that's an integrity violator. What you're doing right there is trying to shame everybody else. Like you're like, oh, I'm too good to eat ass or get my ass eaten. No, you're not.
But I think you can tell, like
2023.
People, if you look at me and Pat and you look at us, you're like, they're not eating each other's asses.
What, you think you think that's a hot people thing?
If those two are grizzled, there ain't no way they're going down there on
that's like a Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie thing.
Yeah,
only?
you gotta be.
What do you think you gotta be? Above like a, I think both people have to be above a 7.5.
Yeah, I don't. If you're
or
very hairy,
you both got to be below a 3, because once you're below a 3, you could be fucking behind your car and nobody cares.
And nobody cares, right? You have that's honestly, yes, you have to be above a 7.5 or below a 3 to eat ass. I think that's acceptably correct.
I saw a guy, his house was like right behind this terrible apartment building that was, you could tell that it was like destroyed all the time. And there's people outside using his Weber grill, like leaning up against it. And somebody was fucking this lady right behind. And he just came out. He's like, get on out of here. Like they're dogs. Like, get out of here. Go.
Yeah.
Like smacking the newspaper at him.
I think this was a great example of why we don't have NCOs and lower enlisted come to the officers club. Those conversations.
Yeah. I bet you
Officers,
guys, I know you guys
I would
are eating
argue,
asses upside down
officers-
pineapples. Yeah.
I think officers eat way more ass than enlisted do.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next segment. This one's an integrity violator for sure. This is a woman in New Brunswick High School in New Jersey. She went to high school, not a big deal, right? She went to high school, but the problem is she was 29 years old, right, Kate?
Yeah, I saw this clip on Twitter last night, and it was a school board meeting. Essentially, it was the school board letting the parents know, hey, small little note at the end of this meeting here. We did accidentally have like a 30-year-old lady sneak in going to school with your kids for a week.
They said it so
that.
underneath their breath, like matter of fact, like it was like they were reporting the free and reduced lunch numbers.
Yeah, you could hear the rumble go across the crowd. So Hai Jong Shin, she attended New Brunswick High School for 4 days before she was caught. And I saw a photo of this woman. A student, I saw it on Twitter, took a picture of this lady and it tweeted out like, what the fuck? Because it looked like a 30-year-old. Like, look at me. I don't look like a high school kid. The 29-year-old woman was arrested last week after she spent 4 days enrolled in the school. She was charged with 1 count of providing a false government document. During her days in school, she spent a lot of time with guidance counselors who just tried to find out more info about her. So
that's brazen. I mean, if you're 29 years old going to high school and you're sitting with the guidance counselor, brazen.
The only thing
go ahead, sorry.
If it turned out, I have no idea why she did it at all in any way. But if she watched Drew Barrymore's Never Been Kissed,
I was just gonna say this is just a plot to Never Been Kissed.
But that would still be wrong unless it was a teacher she was trying to get kissed.
Yeah, especially
Can we
since
talk
the
about
teacher was trying to fuck her. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we
Right.
talk? Yeah, 2 things. Number one, how problematic that movie is.
Yeah.
That teacher
Right,
was pursuing
okay.
what he
Fair
thought to be a high school student. And number
Sure.
2, shout to Glennie Balls for making out with Drew Barrymore on
last
Sunday
week, yeah.
Conversation. Good for
Making
him.
out might be a little much, but they did.
I'm giving him making out. Let him live.
Yeah, I
Good for
saw him go
Glenny.
under the shirt. Good for Glenny.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
interested
last
to
thing.
find out why that she did this. I don't know.
Really quickly, I know you guys don't care, but last time we played New Brunswick High School, I threw 3 touchdowns. No big deal.
Oh, wow. Good job, man.
Interesting.
Then you got to go to West Point, right?
Yeah. And then the
Played
rest
a little
is
bit of
history. Here we
football
are.
there. Yeah, 14 losses in a row to Navy later. You got one.
On a similar note, a 25-year-old Texas man was arrested Friday after he posed for months as a would-be high school basketball star.
And this one's an older one. I was just saying this is not an never been done thing. Like this one happened in Texas.
2011.
Yeah, but it's
Sydney
a good one too.
Gilstrap Portley of Mesquite, Texas. I'm going to read that again.
Name again, Kate.
Sydney
That's a fucking
Bouvier
name.
Gilstrap Portley of Mesquite, Texas was arrested and charged with tampering with government records after he enrolled at 2 Dallas, Texas high schools as a 17-year-old boy named Rashawn Richardson.
Great name if you're going to give yourself one.
Yeah,
he did it so that he could play basketball and be the star. And isn't that the dream of all of us, really? Like,
Uncle Rico, baby, that's the way it goes down.
Yeah, to be able to go back and actually be good at the sport you played, what a treat that would be. But yeah, so it's out there. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, Kate, what's up for the news roundup? What do we have here?
Okay, quick news roundup. I only got 3 things today. Number 1, if you are EASing in the Army right now, buddy, you are trapped in purgatory. Where are you going? Nowhere. The paperwork is all screwed out. Systems outage is not allowing soldiers to get their DD-214s. Approximately 4,000 troops, that means, are just trapped in the Army right now. They thought they were done. They thought they were going home. But guess what? Due to data processing issues, they're screwed. I don't
understand this. Like we talked at the top of the show about they can do pills that makes people's blood get warmer, but we can't figure out a basic website. Like every website that you go to, it takes 20 minutes for a military website to upload. 20 minutes.
But also, people left the Army before computers. Right. So, isn't there a backup way to process people out if your system's down?
But people were able to get places without maps on GPSs before. We can't do that now.
No, they said the system should be working again within a week. So it could take up to another week and encourage troops experiencing problems to report them to their chain of command. I can't imagine anyone desperately trying to get their DD-214 and get the fuck out of there.
Oh, hey, Gunny, I can't get my DD-214. Good, get in formation, bitch.
Yeah, I can't imagine not saying something and just like hanging out for they've been there for like a year or something. Up next, hero alert. Shout out to Marine veteran Carlos Fernandez. He waded into a freezing cold lake to rescue 2 women whose car had run off the road in Hammond, Indiana on January 16th. He said, I think it was the Marine in me, which was instantly just like, hey, you always got to do the right thing. Something that we preach, as we'll get to at the end of the show. Yeah. You always got to do the right thing. Something we preach in the Marine Corps is integrity, and integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is looking. And I just love, we talk about I feel like we share a lot of stories about shitheads in the Marines. Like I did a TikTok the other day about that Marine in the hotel in San Diego who attacked those women, and then they ended up knocking his ass out with a lamp. It's good to tell a story about guys like Carlos Fernandez who are out there doing the right thing and crediting it to the Marine Corps. Thankfully, though, there was someone looking at their cell phone video of the incident, which what's the point of helping others if that's not the case?
Right. I mean, Cons, I'm so sad for you that,
nobody
we'll talk about it in Save
videotaped
Rounds.
it. Yeah, Save Rounds. Finally, all this classified documents debacle. At this point now, it's like who hasn't stolen or accidentally taken or whatever classified documents? So I found this really fun story the Associated Press dug up. Follow me on this one. It's a doozy. On a winter's day in 1984, a briefcase stuffed with classified government documents showed up in a building in Pittsburgh, brought by someone who most certainly wasn't supposed to have them. That was 13-year-old Kristen Preble. She took the papers to school as a show and tell project for her 8th grade class. Her dad had found this suitcase of classified documents in a Cleveland hotel room years earlier and just took them home as a souvenir.
Don't blame this guy at all. I'd pocket them bad boys too.
Yeah. A different sort of show and tell is unfolding in Washington over the mishandling of state secrets by the Trump and now the Biden administrations. And the schoolgirl episode from 4 decades ago still stands as a reminder that other presidents, too, have let secure information spill.
Yeah, and they actually put this 13-year-old girl in jail for it. She's still
totally. She's still in the slammer now. Yeah. The grade 8 escapade and one known as Debategate both involved the mishandling of classified documents that Democratic President Jimmy Carter used to prepare for a debate with Republican rival Reagan in Cleveland in October of 1980. In the latter instance, the Reagan campaign obtained, some said stole, Carter's briefing materials for the debate. So they must have accidentally, so Reagan's squad stole somehow a whole briefcase from Carter's squad, and then whoever stole them forgot and ditched them in this Cleveland hotel. The next guest to stay there was just this guy from Pittsburgh who was like, this is fucking sweet. Took it home and was a family keepsake for years. In today's docudramas, special counsels have been assigned to investigate Trump and his cache of documents and Biden and his stash, which he willingly gave up only months later. Well, he gave them up, but he didn't disclose it to the rest of us for many, many months, and very shady there as well. Also, Mike Pence now has had stuff found in his home. The Carter files fell into Kristen's hand through a somewhat meandering route. Again, her dad, traveling for work, found them. The family didn't really read through them. We looked through them, but didn't think they were important, said Carol, Kristen's mother. And so she let him take him to school. And that's when people were like, the teachers were like, wait, what is this? What are you reading?
Could you imagine how many of the country's problems we would solve if we prosecuted everybody that was involved in this specific situation? Just made sure that they can all never hold public office again. That would be incredible. Joe, Trump, Pence, the whole squad.
There would be no one left,
Just
really.
get 'em
I
out.
feel like.
Yeah, we'll start.
Yeah, I
fresh.
wonder though how much, like, if everybody's got classified documents, are they really even classified? You know, I don't know. It just seems ridiculous that they all have them at this point.
It really does. All right,
Wait.
let's move on to. Oh,
Wait, I think it bears mentioning about what we're doing with Ukraine right now and sending 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine to help. So President Biden announced that we're going to send a battalion of Abrams tanks, 31. And I'm just kind of curious what you guys think. Like, number one, what's one battalion worth of tanks going to really do? And then number two, if you don't have like the maintenance and the fuel to keep up with them, eventually they're just going to break and you're not going to be able to fix them. And then you're going to be down to like 3 tanks. And this was like a show of goodwill, I guess. But for what?
I think it's a show of it took us this long to train the Ukrainians on how to properly take care of and maintain these tanks. Otherwise, because it doesn't, to me, it doesn't signal anything. A lot of the military people that I see, like smarter than me, they all keep talking about this tanks and like going over there, that it shows Putin that we're super involved and we're going to be involved and that we're like financing a lot of this stuff. Dude, they've been getting fucking shelled by our weapons over and over again for like a year now. Like that, what does the Abrams tank do that a HIMARS can't?
Yeah,
I don't know. I like that.
I don't know. It just seems like
is that what it's not called? Isn't that it?
I thought
the HIMARS. Yeah, HIMARS.
HIMARS.
Yeah, HIMARS.
I just like
it's
you
gonna be
saying
another
HIMARS.
Millie Miley thing. Fancy. It's French, like croissant.
Yeah.
Malak. All right, let's move on to some save rounds and alibis. Kate, we will start with you.
Okay, so by the time you listen to this show, we're recording it Thursday morning. For this other show I'm on called The Yak, we're having a cake/case race today. And so I think it's teams of 3, and I'm with KB and Roan. And what we have to do is eat between the 3 of us 13 cupcakes, I think it is, and 29 beers or something like that. I'm sick. I woke up this morning and I was pretty much dead. Had to be in the shower for an hour to even clear my system out enough to function. But God damn it, I'm not going down. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows alcohol and sickness mix very well.
Yeah,
I
just
know I'm
flush
gonna
the whole system out.
I'm just hoping, and this is maybe unhealthy to say, that once I'm 3 beers in, I hit that stride where my body's like, oh yeah, I remember this feeling. And then it's smooth sailing and I'll deal with the consequences later.
Yeah, that's a problem for future Kate on a Friday.
I'm just hoping the cupcakes don't create a plug for the fizzing of the beer creates like a burp bomb.
No, what I do think you might run into though is the dairy in the cupcakes mixing with the beer. I don't know how well that will go.
I've always used dairy to settle down beer belly. So milkshakes are like my go-to hangover thing.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's like
a big old...
Have you never seen an Irish car bomb? Like it curdles in there.
Buddy, that was one of my things back in the day to impress dudes, was how quick I could crush those suckers. So, yeah, I've seen a few.
I mean, honest to God, that
and
probably
Marlboro
played
Reds.
in the Marine
I said
Corps.
they're gonna love this shit.
I really do think I do think one of the first times you and I hung out in a bar setting, we were drinking car bombs, if I recall correctly.
I was probably not trying to hook up, but I was probably trying to impress you and make you realize, oh, she's pretty cool. Yeah.
She's a bad bitch.
Anyway, I'm trying to think if I have anything else right now.
Tip for you, Kate. Have you seen that you can drink way more beers in a row if you put it into a glass and make the fizz come out? Because the problem is you get so gassy and airy where you have to burp. If you let all the fizz out, you'll be able to drink it faster and more smooth.
Yeah, and they got to be kind of almost room temperature, the way the Brits drink them sometimes. I feel like if it's too cold, it gets stuck in the gullet. I'll figure it out. Also, Hannah Fryer, she was in Rough and Rowdy, military, awesome. I love her. She is getting out soon, and she, not DM me, but she pinged me on Twitter and was like, "Hey, Kate, can you do a segment telling me how to use like my basic benefits? Like, how do I find a doctor? How do I?" And I said, I didn't say this to her yet, but I'll say now, honey, you're asking the wrong lady. I do not know any, but I am going to look into it, and maybe I'll do like a tweet thread for my own knowledge, but like for dummies kind of thing soon.
Well, why don't we not do, you have a show where you talk about military stuff. Why don't we do that here?
But basically what I've always done, Hannah, is just walk into whatever VA I'm registering at and being like, help me, I'm stupid.
I'm sick.
And then they show you, they're like, here you go, dumb. Here's how it works.
And all those doctors there are like, I know you came in for an elbow, but we're going to send you on over to the OBGYN. We have no idea what to do with the ladies' bones.
We have no idea.
These lady bones are wild.
Yeah, always crackling. Anyways, I don't think I have anything else, but just pray for me because I just can feel in my bones. Tomorrow, especially waking up after the case race is going to be just brutal. It reminds me of being hungover to this,
and
having
just
to go
send
to
Kate
PT.
good vibes. Yeah,
that's rough because we have an interview. I'm doing an interview tomorrow at some point. Okay.
Where are we at? We need an update on the bite situation. Where are we at on the bites?
Yeah, so we did get the 10th bite, and then they handed me the paper. Didn't I update on here and say?
Yeah, but I didn't know.
But we don't know if
we don't know
since.
from then. That was like 2.5 weeks ago. Yeah.
So they handed me the paper. I had to do the sign of shame in front of the other parents outside the daycare. And
wear the little fucking cards like you're advertising for Quiznos.
Yep. And I said to her, I was like, oh my God, is this it? Like, because it happened on a Thursday, and I was like, am I even allowed to bring him in tomorrow? I'm kind of whispering so the other parents can't hear, even though they all know. And she's like, she's the assistant to the woman who owns it. And she looks at her and she goes, I'll call you tonight. And I was like, oh, there's hope for something. So she didn't call me. But the next day, actually, I was in Home Depot shopping for beer bong funnels for the tank race when the daycare called me. And they're like, are you busy right now? I'm like, no, not at all. This is bizarre. Anyway, they said, they're like, we kind of do that. We're not going to kick him out. And I was like, well, you had a whole meeting telling me you were gonna. You scared the shit out of me. I had new daycares lined up. They're like, we kind of have to do that to put the fear of God in parents to make sure they're really trying at home. And I was like, I promised you I was. So now they're like, we'll give him a little more leeway. We're not going to kick him out. And now if he bites, they're going to remove him to the head lady's office.
Solitary confinement.
And they're like, is that okay with you if we do that? And I was like, absolutely.
He's a danger to himself and others.
Wait, I don't understand though. Like, what do they expect you to do? Like, bring him home and rationalize with a toddler? Like,
and dude, you cannot, man. You just can't.
He doesn't get it. No toddler does.
He bit me the other day, actually, for the first time in a while. I think it was just for the thrill. He bit me on the leg, and then he looked up like this. Like pumped. He wasn't even mad. He just did it randomly. I think he likes the chaos of it, which I read is one of the reasons toddlers bite. They like the chaos that ensues.
But whenever Cardi would do it, I had forgotten about this. When Cardi would bite me, I'd be like, ow, like act like it hurt. And like, you hurt, daddy. You hurt, mama. And then eventually they're like, oh God, well, you're the one that puts bottles and shit in my mouth. I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Yeah, you got to act it out. There's no, I mean, whatever. Hopefully. So I guess he's got a few more rogue bites left, but I think he's coming out of it. And I think they could tell because he hadn't bitten a while until that Thursday. So I think they can tell he's almost out of it too. So hopefully, I don't know, but that's where we're at. It was very stressful.
Right. Cons, what about you? How are we doing with bites over at your side of the podcast?
Well, we're not necessarily dealing with bites, but we're dealing with other things that are just driving me up a wall currently. You know, we're talking about mixing drinks and doing things. Our colleagues over there at the Mean Girl Pod, Jordan and Alex, I think they would actually fit in really well in the military, living in the barracks, but I need them to stop with these let's mix Diet Coke and champagne. Let's mix red wine and Coke. Knock it off. It is ridiculous behavior from adults who have the means to not do those sorts of things. Those are the sorts of things you do like when you're in the barracks and you have nothing else. So you just have to get creative.
Alex has been around a little bit of money for a while. So maybe she doesn't even value the expensive stuff.
Maybe not.
So she's like, fuck it. I've been drinking Dom since I was 2. Let's put a little bit of Diet Coke in this Sauvignon
when she wants to slum it. Yeah, she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Unbelievable behavior. So those two drive me up a wall. They shouldn't, but they do. And then
Pat's
also
been drinking red wine and Coca-Cola since I met him.
I don't. Why?
Always.
Why?
He's always done it. He calls it like
but why?
Isn't it like a Eastern European thing?
Yeah.
Anything else, Cons?
Yeah. So I went to my high school the other night for a basketball game. No big deal. We're number 4 in the state right now. Really fun to watch. And me and my dad are there. After the game, something happened. And we've all talked about, people like to think how they might react in a situation. And we've all been in situations where things have gone down, especially in the military, and you kind of don't think, you just kind of act and you hope your training kicks in and you'll just do something. So following the game, we're standing on the court talking to a buddy of mine and his brother. And all of a sudden at one point, my buddy's brother goes, "Whoa, is that kid all right?" And I turn around and I see a kid, I don't know, maybe he was like 15, 16. He's on all fours on the court. He wasn't a player. He was a fan. And then maybe 2 seconds later, he just completely passes out. I drop my jacket. I turn to my friend's brother. I say, "Call 911. I run over to the kid. He was having a seizure. I helped stabilize him until the trainers and the EMTs got there. But it was just crazy because, and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back. I'm saying that to say I hadn't ever been presented in a situation like that for, I don't know, maybe more than 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy. Like there were no thoughts through my head like, oh, maybe you should go over and help that kid. I just kind of acted. So that just gave me a little peace of mind that I have a person coming into this world that maybe I will be able to take care of. And I don't need to necessarily be as scared because I still have those instincts in me to help.
They even ramp up, bud. Like you guys know me, I'm not fast twitch muscle fiber anymore by any means. And one day McCartney, probably like 18 months or so, was coming down. Like they used to go down on their bellies, like the stairs, like a lot of kids, tripped, went down, started like tumbling over. And we had wood floors in the old house that was going down. I like hopped up off the couch and dove and put my hand right underneath Cardi's head, like right before it hit the ground. And my wife was like, "How in the world did you know to do that?" And I was like, "Well, I knew if I didn't, you would probably yell at me a lot because I should have. It would have been my fault." Like that we have stairs in the house.
I'm so paranoid that I have my stools behind me. I have the instructions for what happens if he starts choking written out on
like
note cards.
Like, wait, hold on.
Gosh, wait a second. Cue cards. Do you have one of those choker things?
I've read that they're kind of a scam a little bit and that whatever, but
okay.
I have them right, and I put that chair right next to his high chair every time I feed him because I'm a nut. But I hope I would do the same. I would hope I jump. Do the
all right, crazy. That's baby talk at the end of your favorite military podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Sound the retreat.